Hey everybody, are we live? You better know it. How y'all doing, everybody? How's everything going today? Hopefully everything is going good with everybody. I'm just up here, um, excuse me, sharing this live with my Facebook. Y'all know I be forgetting. I apologize. I so apologize. But how's your Wednesday going so far? Hopefully everything is going great. Let me just share this video real quick so I can get on with this good old review. Did you guys get a chance to check out my Love and Hip Hop review as well? First, I want to apologize because something happened with the video. I don't know what happened, but for some reason the live had cut off. And then it, like, maybe, I don't know, 30 seconds later, it cut back on. So out of, both of the lives, because it was a part one and a part two that I posted, but out of both of the lives, it was two parts. And I think it was like only 30 seconds that you probably missed, in between each part. But again, I do apologize. I don't know what happened. I have very good internet connection, so I don't know. But anyway, on your way in, make sure you please like the video, subscribe to the video. Please make sure you are sharing the video to your family and to your friends. And let's see. Okay. Facebook. Facebook. I just want to put it on here. Oh, you guys, and make sure follow me on Twitter too. I'm just sharing this real quick. I'm almost done. Just putting it on social media so everybody can get the notification. But so what did y'all think about the video? I mean the video. I'm thinking video because all the songs that was playing last night, I mean, I was just like, it just brought back memories. I remember, and it's like Bobby, he grew up in the projects and in Boston. And at that time when those songs first came out, after he had left not left, but after he had got put out a New Edition, at that time I didn't know that Bobby, you young, you know about celebrities, but you don't really know about celebrities besides what might be put in the Jet magazine, or the Essence, all the magazines that were out back then. But to know that he lived in the projects, and at that time when he was playing, uh, when he was doing all the concerts, making all the CDs and everything, the first time that I ever heard a Bobby Brown song, it was in the projects in Omaha, Nebraska, in Hilltop. I will never forget. I was a little old church girl back then, and my mom never let us listen to any worldly, secular music, as you would want to say. And I was at my god sister's house, and I start hearing Tenderoni. I was like, what is this? What the what? And I fell in love with his voice immediately. So it just brought back memories of that. Excuse me. I loved Bobby Brown back then, which I'm sure a lot of you did too. Um, so Bobby Brown, it starts off at the beginning of the episode, and it's crazy because him and Whitney had did so much drugs. And so in the beginning, it starts off with him on a stretcher, being pushed through the hospital, and he's thinking he's dying. And it's like, I guess at that time, at that moment in time, it's just, I don't know why they started off with that part, but excuse me, I think they started off with that part because they're showing us, a critical life that he lived. And I think when we see part two of the movie, I think that might be like the end of them. and the end of him and when he thinks he's dying and everything. But I'm sure, that'll probably be towards the end of the next part two, which will be on tonight. So make sure you guys catch part two tonight, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. But it opened up with that. And then at the beginning of the episode, it shows him, grieving over his mother. I mean, over his grandmother and everything, and his friend sitting there, chilling with him, and you know, trying to console him in a homeboy type of way. It wasn't like no hugs or really an emotion involved. But I guess, that's how it is, when you from the hood and stuff, you don't really show your feelings. They go off and play basketball. And I'm like, dang, I didn't know it was gonna start off with violence like that right away. His homeboy, was defending him and trying to protect, somebody from stealing, or I don't know if the dude was trying to steal the bike or if he was just, wanted to ride the bike. But anywho, he ran up on him, but don't be touching my, friend's bike or whatnot. And he ends up getting murdered for that. And I'm like, what the heck? I maybe I should have read Bobby's Brown book, because I learned a lot of new stuff in this video, like a lot of new stuff. I didn't know that there was that much violence before, he started doing the drugs and getting with Whitney and all that stuff. Y'all probably already knew that, but comment with me, talk to me, get in the chat, let me know your thoughts on the video, on the different scenes and everything. Let me see. Tune in right now by clicking on the link in my live video. Uh, Video of Bobby Brown, part 1. Okay, got that in there. Okay, sorry, I'm working on several different computers right here. But then after that, he took him home. He took him home to his mom and everything, to the boy's mom, and that was like such a touching scene, him dragging his body at home. And I'm like, when his mom was yelling, call the cops, that just took me again back to the hood. Back in the day, not everybody had a phone. Sometimes you have to run up the street to use a phone, run a pay phone. I wonder if somebody would have had a phone, if that would have been in this day and time and they had cell phones, if his homeboy would have survived. Maybe not. But then after that, it goes into him basically right after he got kicked out of New Edition, and he's returning home. And the first thing that happens when he get home, his mom, first of all, she's upset. His mom is one of those moms, the moms, from the hood, the old school moms. She is pissed off because, she thinks that her son deserves to be with New Edition and deserves to be, in the Ralph Tresvant spot, because, Ralph, he was like the lead singer or whatnot. Bobby, he led a few songs, but overall, Ralph was like the main lead singer back then. So his mom and them, she's kind of bent out of shape. But Bobby is like cool on that, because he got other plans. Um, and then when Bobby, now I knew that he did drugs with Whitney and everything, and I knew that he was like introduced into the smoking of the drugs. But I guess, at his young age, when he came back home and he had his first baby, and what was the baby's name? Was it Malika? Yeah, it was Malika, and I think the baby's name was Landon. And, she's calling him and everything and asking him, why'd you leave? You need to come back. What about us and everything? He's telling her, what do you want me to do? I just got fired. They just sent me home, for good. Before Bobby, if you ever seen the New Edition movie, they had many problems with Bobby, and he was in and out the group, show up when he wanted to. It was a hot mess. Bobby was all over the place. And so he's telling her basically, what? I'll do what I gotta do. I'm gonna help take care of the baby. I'll send you, whatever I want. At that point in time, it seems like, he's even at a very young age, he has some kind of good upbringing, because even at a very young 15, 16, when he said, I'll send you all the money that I got, I was like, oh, okay, he really trying to take care of his responsibilities and stuff, even though, he probably don't know which direction his life is going to go in at that point. Then later he decides, what? I gotta do something instead of getting a job and everything. Like his father wants him to go back to school. He wants him to, finish high school, get that diploma. I don't know if he preferred for him to go through high school or if he preferred for him to just get a GED and get a job. But, he was 16, so he was still at that age where, he still needed to be in school, but he didn't want to go back to school. Now, one thing I noticed that they didn't show, as far as school, most kids that young, their parents will have like a tutor with them, or they would have them, some kind of person with them that would like homeschool or whatnot. I didn't see that. So did he like literally like drop out of school? I think he like just dropped out of school. So that's why his dad, was kind of like, what, son, I wish you would just go back to school, forget this stuff. But the mom on the other end, no, bump that, we gonna do this, we gonna sue them, MCA, New Edition, you know, Universal, we gonna sue everybody. And the next time they see me, they about to get it. But so his mom, I love his mom. And then when she had caught him with the gun, coming out the closet with the gun, and she was like right there, he turned around, like jumped, like, oh dang, what all did you see? But she was trying to, just hear him from the streets and let him know, like, dude, you got a baby and everything. And we understand, we don't know, you don't know where your head at right now. You don't know what's going up with your career right now. You don't have a job. You're only 16. He's up there like, I got to do what I got to do. At that age, I'm like, I feel his mom because she's like, your dad is working hard. I'm working hard. We here taking care of you. There is no reason why you need to go out in those streets and hustle. First of all, you hustling backwards. You is too talented to be out there in them streets, carrying around a gun and selling drugs. But he tried it anyway. Threw it up in her face though that she did it too. And I'm like, oh dang, his mama used to slang. Talking about, yeah, you was selling more than chicken dinners and catfish dinners. I was like, oh shoot, you used to slang out. Okay, that explains, her attitude and how much of a strong woman, a strong force that she seems to be reckoned with. But she was like, hey, okay, all right, go ahead. But then, you saw how she picked up the phone and she gave what was his name? I guess the manager that had hooked him up with his last deal with New Edition. And so his mom, she called him. And I was like, I think Tank, I was surprised to see Tank in the video. I'm like, oh, go Tank. Oh, y'all remember the pictures that was floating around the internet of Tank? I'm like, what's going on? This man is looking like, but okay, in this movie, he was correct. He was looking good. But anyway, he comes down there and offers him a deal to get out the projects. And I was like, oh, look at him being all bougie and stuff, talking about, I'm not coming back down to these bricks. Basically, that's what we used to call the projects. I don't know what y'all called y'all projects in y'all area, even if y'all hung in the projects. But that's all we did was hang in the projects growing up. But anyway, he was like, I'm not trying to come down here with them bricks, but Bobby not trying to feel that. He's like, shoot, I'd rather get out there and slang if you're going to get me the kind of deal that you got me with New Edition, because basically, you know how it was back then. All the managers was getting rich, all the executive, all the producers, and leaving the actual talent penniless, living at home in the projects or back in their hood where they came from. So he was like, no, I'm not feeling that. So he's like, okay, I'm all right. Well, I'm out of here. I'm not coming back. This the last, your last chance. But anywho, he leaves and everything. And then he tells his brother Tommy, holla at your boy, holla at your bro, because he don't know what he doing. He needs to get out of here. They know Bobby needs to leave the projects for good because he is involved with too much stuff. He done lost friends. He's out there trying to slang and follow in his mother's footsteps, although she has changed for the better because she only did that, to support her children. when they were younger. So that's something that's her past. That's her past. But he leaves anyway, and Tommy, is asking him, what's up? And he said, I'm not really feeling him anymore, but I think I want you to be my manager. And at first, Tommy wasn't feeling it. No, I don't know nothing about being no manager. That's not my, that's not my what I got trained for, you know. And he's like a journalist. He should be like writing up stories, working at a news station, newspaper, magazine, things like that. And he's basically put all his trust in his brother, and family is who most people do hire for their manager, or the person, their financial advisors, or stuff like that, to make sure nobody tricked them off of their money and everything, like they do. But so he ends up taking a job. He's like, hey, you know what, I got your back, bro. So he ends up hiring his brother as his manager. And Tommy, he does always remain having the best interest, for his brother. Um, Now after that, they ended up working. Let's see, they jumped to 1986 when he's working on the King of Stage album, and he's up there. Lou, basically he's trying to get a different sound, with New Edition. They was good. We love them. The girls definitely love them. But he was trying to get away from that high schooly, lovey-dovey, every song kind of sappy. He was trying to get away from that, and he wanted something, a little more up tempo, instead of, slow jams. And so Lou, he really wasn't trying to hear that, but Tommy, his brother, he was trying to, get him to listen to Bobby. Bobby shouldn't be dressing like this. Bobby shouldn't be looking like this. Bobby needs to be looking more mature, more, he done went through that stage where all the boys dressing alike and looking, like kids in school. That's what they were. But he didn't want to listen to him in any way. But then, they did the video, and I remember that video. I used to watch that video all the time. I Need a Girlfriend. And who shows up after the doggone video set is over? Like his baby mama. She's sitting over in the cut and, tripping. And it's like, at first, he couldn't do anything for her. She's still unhappy, but I got it. I got it. He talking about, I got y'all set up in this crib. Y'all got a nice house, probably like a mini mansion. He's talking about, you got a pool in the backyard, you got cars, the baby got everything his need. I gave you money. What else do you want from me? Time. What's more important than, spending time with your child and connecting, having that bond, that connection with your child? Time, of course. So she gets upset and tells him, you know what, I don't need you. I don't need you for anything. He walks off, which I noticed he did a lot, throughout this first night, part one. He's good at just walking away, just walking away from stuff and being done. Um, so after that, he sees the female, she gets up and she's all pissed off. And, a matter of fact, that was Landon's mom, the first baby mama, because he didn't have the other baby at that time yet. Bobby, from the beginning, he always was a ladies' man. So knocking up different women at the same time, as you see later on in the movie, that was like right up his alley, being with all these different women and everything. Now Kim, basically, what was that song called? When he was talking to was it not Jimmy Jam? Why I want to say Jimmy Jam, but Babyface and L.A. Reid. Um, Now a lot of people didn't know that Bobby had been with Janet, and I had heard. I swear I thought I heard rumors. This was so long ago. You look back and you remember things. You watch these shows and you remember things like bits and pieces from the news and, from the rumor mill and everything. And I could have sworn that was like, that happened, that he was messing with Janet. But then when he's playing that song and he's telling them in the studio, the part that he wants to do, who you are, my angel, and, all this kind of stuff. I got a crush on you. That was Janet who he was talking to. I mean, we see it in the movie now, but back then, everybody was like, who was he talking to? They didn't know if he was talking to Malika, his girlfriend, or, a different girl, not girlfriend, baby mama, or a different girl or whatnot. But he was talking to Janet. And that scene where they was in the bed at the hotel, and I mean, you would have thought that they was like seriously in each other. Um, two-sided, two-sided. Janet played his butt, and I'm wondering how many men Janet probably played, because as she told Bobby when he was like, what's up with us? Where are we going from here? I need to know, because Bobby is looking for, Mrs. Right. He didn't had issues with baby mamas and everything. And I think at that point he was trying to really settle down. And, Janet, she got it on. She comes from a background of singers and celebrities. And, she got money. She ain't nobody that he has to potentially take care of. Although, of course, he would spend money on her. But, he don't have to worry about taking care of her. And then she busts his bubble talking about, where are we going from here? What is you talking about? I'm with Reedy. And he's like, you still gonna marry that dude? And when she said that, basically what she said was, it's not up to her. It's not up to her. And I'm thinking, wow, her dad had that much influence on her, on all their lives, even though she was grown at that time. And she bust his bubble, and Bobby was hurt. He was bent. He put her out the hotel and everything. And I'm like, Janet? And when he was saying, you don't want me because I'm black, you only like white guys and things like that. When she was saying, it's not up to me, I'm like, wow, I didn't realize. I knew Joe. I know he had a lot of influence on them, especially the boys. He used to get really, really, really angry and upset with them, when they would get girlfriends, because he was scared of them getting women pregnant, dealing with child support, baby mama drama and all that. He wanted them to stay away from that drama. But with Janet, I didn't realize that he basically was like, how they do in countries, how they set you up with your husband or what. I don't know if it was that kind of thing, or if it was just a lot of pressure to, marry that. But anywho, Bobby was like, you know what, after that, I'm done. I'm done with these celebrity chicks, done with these industry chicks. And when he was at the studio with Ralph, now him and Ralph, although he had got kicked out of New Edition, him and Ralph still remained cool with each other. They were still boys, they were still cool with each other and everything. As a matter of fact, they helped each other out, on records and stuff. You guys remember that back in the day. And he's up there like, Bobby had been, basically, he started off smoking weed. So almost every scene, he's smoking weed. And he's sitting up there with Ralph and they smoking weed. I'm not saying anything bad with smoking weed. I'm just saying, this was like the early stages of where he ended up. Him and Wendy ended up, you know what I mean? And he's sitting there and he's upset about his album, because his album did good. Ralph even think, that the album was good, it was a strong first album, but he thinks it could have been better. And that's when he again reiterates what he really wants to do. He's tired of those songs. He's tired. He wants to do something grittier. Uh, less high school. And so Ralph, he like, you know what? I got something I need you to hear. He picked out the big old boom box. I ain't seen one of them in the grip. He picked up the big old boom box. And that reminds me of actually, do the right thing. That movie when, when the dude was walking around with the boombox on. Anyway, and he, plays this beat for him, and I'm like, oh shoot, Dougie Fresh, and he was like, yeah, this is the kind of stuff that I want. This is what I need. Ralph was like, you can't do that unless you have the right producer. So Lou, and this is the funny part. Lou, he was like, okay, you know what? I got the exact people that you need. He introduces him to L.A. Reid and Babyface. And at first glance, even Tommy was like looking at these dudes like, who did their hair? Who dressed them? Bobby was like, Lou, let me holler at you out. He was like, man, these is the best of the best. They writing records and, producing, for everybody right now, hit after hit after hit. Bobby was like, I'm looking for this, that, and the third. I told you what I'm looking for. And he was like, but they can get you that. And he was like, well, you know what? I'm also thinking of, messing around with not just Babyface and L.A. Reid, but he also wants to mess around with Riley, Teddy Riley. And I think that's kind of how him and Whitney ended up, hooking up. Because basically, some of these producers, they was basically doing, music for both of them, behind the scenes. They was working with both of them in the music department. So that's probably how he hooked up with or not like hooked up with her, but where he knew her from. Because what I got from um remember when he was at the war show and Whitney had came behind him and Whitney kept bumping him, and he turned around and he was like, excuse me, you keep bumping me in my head. She was like, I know. Like they were kind of familiar with each other. He turned around and he was like, whatever, this is Miss Whitney, Miss Perfect. Everybody loves Whitney. But what tripped me out was I don't remember the war shows back then. It was so long ago. But when they did, say basically, who everybody was in that category. And it was Anita Baker, it was Whitney, it was who else? Where the broken heart? Yep. It was Superwoman with Karen White and Whitney with Where the Broken Hearts Go, and Anita Baker with Giving You the Best That I Got. Ooh, I used to love that song. And Vanessa Williams. I be forgetting about her sometimes when they started playing Right Stuff. But when they announced that Anita Baker was the one that won, I always got a hair in my face. Only when I do videos though. I'm like, y'all can't tell me I got a hair in my face. But anyway, when they announced who the winner was, and I guess Whitney, she just knew she was going to win, but I'm sure all of them feel that way when they think, they the best of the best. But when they announced Anita Baker, as the winner, and well, actually before that, when they said Whitney's name, when they were announcing like the candidates for that award, all the people that was booing her, I was like, what? I don't remember all this. Now I do remember um a lot of people back then, had problems with Whitney. I don't know if y'all remember it too, but a lot of people had problems back then with Whitney because they were like, Whitney is not acting black enough. The songs that Whitney was doing, some of the songs, she was pop. Whitney was not more R&B. Like, a lot of the black artists back then, women and men, they were either R&B or they were, hip hop and rap. And Whitney was like more pop. So in the beginning, when Whitney was first started out, she had to work her way to get crossed over, so everybody enjoyed her music. But and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all her music from the first album on up. But the way they booed her, and then he turned around and he comforted her, like, that's what I'm saying. I think they were kind of familiar because he didn't have to do that. And when she said basically, no, he told her, you know what, don't worry about them. He basically said, don't, in so many words, don't let them put you in a box. Don't let them try to make you into somebody that you're not. Keep doing you. And I think that was like the point where Whitney was like, okay, she's going to start doing some other things, doing some other sounds. They both was looking for different stuff in their life at that time with their music, with their career. So, I think that little pep talk, you want to call it a little pep talk, I think that really, worked for her, worked in her favor. And she was like, Willie was, she already knew she had talent. She could sing and everything. She was making money and everything. Although at that time, Bobby was, making a little more money than her, so they say. And he said it in his book too. So I heard. I never read the book, but I would like to read the book because I keep hearing that the book is better. And in most, stories where there's a autobiography, movie or, TV movie or whatever, and there's a book also that came out before, usually the book is always better. So I think I do want to pick up the book. But I need something to drink. Lord Jesus. My throat's dry. Sorry. But oh yeah, make sure you guys share this video. Share, share, share. While you watching, share. Make sure you like the video and make sure you subscribe if you are not already a subscriber. And if you have any comments, again, you can always comment in the chat section and say what you thought about this movie or the different scenes or the characters or whatever. One thing I wanted to say, speaking of the cast, how do y'all feel about the one who played Whitney? Now you know who she is, right? If there are any of you out there who are a fan of the game, the show that focused on Melanie, she was studying to be a doctor and everything, and Darwin, is that his name? Darwin? He was a football player. Y'all remember the game? And remember, he had stepped out. He had had a baby. He had got a girl pregnant, and that's her. That's the Whitney, the girl that's playing Whitney or whatnot. I personally, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of feeling the character for Janet, kinda, but I think they messed up. I think they messed up when they chose the character for Whitney. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I don't know. I don't know. She just, I wouldn't have chose her. I wouldn't have chose her. I think they could have done better. Not saying she's a bad actress, but as far as the dude that they selected, McCain, Woody McCain, who they selected for Bobby, I thought that was a good pick. I can see Bobby and him, his dances, his style. I think he's doing a great job so far at being Bobby. Especially with the dances, because Bobby would kill it on the stage. So, but as far as Whitney, y'all let me know what y'all think about Whitney's character, because I just don't know. But anywho, and then now moving right along. When he had been dating Whitney for about 3 years, and at first when they was over his house, well, over his parents' house, and still, they was having like a kickback or something, playing spades, doing something like that. And when Whitney had left the room, first his mom was looking like all crazy. And I'm thinking, was she not feeling Whitney at that time? And I didn't know at that time until they said it when Whitney left the room, that they had been dating for 30 years. But the reason why she was looking like that when Whitney left the room to use the bathroom, she was like, dude, what is you waiting on? The whole room, like, what is you waiting on? And that takes me back to the beginning of the show because Bobby kept asking his mom, why you keep having all these meetings? We ain't gotta have these meetings just because, New Edition kicked me out and I don't know where my career is. We do not have to have a family meeting. So obviously they've been talking behind his back and probably having meetings without him while he was on the road. But they're like, when are you gonna marry Whitney? And then Bobby, he's like, I guess he wasn't really thinking marriage. Bobby, he loves Whitney at that point, but I don't know if he was 100% ready to get rid of his playboy ways. And you see later when Whitney, um, when he has like he he backslid. He back and slid right back in the bed with his baby mama. Um, But I give it to him. He stood up like a man. He told her what happened, but it was at a bad timing when Whitney was pregnant, and she was like going off like, "You got her pregnant, and I'm pregnant. Why would you do something like that?" Like I said, I don't think he was 100% ready to give his playboy away. Because when you really, really love somebody, you shouldn't that easily be able to fall into the entrapment. Like, I, and then as far as babysitting, he couldn't take the baby with him and keep the baby somewhere with him. I mean, that was mistake number one. Spending the night at your ex's house or, staying over the ex's house and watching the kid. That normally always, especially when the ex is either jealous of the current girlfriend or wife and, they single, they ain't got nobody. They don't got nobody and they still in love with you. Rule number one, lesson number one, fellas, if you was watching, and ladies, if you was watching, if that ex be like, could you come over here and sit with the baby? He's sick or something like that. I don't need him to go outside. Both of y'all go. Both of y'all go. So y'all won't end up in the situation that Whitney was in. And then I think with her being so stressed out about that, and now that I think about it, I didn't think about it then, but Whitney was doing drugs, before Bobby started doing drugs. I wonder if that had anything to do with the baby, the miscarriage. I'm not saying it is. I'm just wondering because when he had offered her some who called me? When he had offered her at first, I think it was a smoke or a drink or something, and she was like, I can't, I can't. I wonder if it could have been from the stress because she found out he got somebody else knocked up. It could have been like that. But when she had her had on the bodyguard set, when she had her miscarriage and they called him and he came running, I was like, oh, that's so romantic. He just dropped everything and came and came to his woman's side and he was promising her, I promise we gonna try again, we gonna try again. And he kept his promise. But I wonder how Whitney really felt, like, besides the pain of losing that baby. Like, did she feel any kind of way negatively about his other baby mom, the one who got pregnant again? I wonder, that was Malika. So I'm wondering if she felt some type of way, like maybe jealous, or maybe like he got one kid by this one, he got two kids by this one. I ain't got no kids. I can't carry a kid. Sometimes women, they be in their feelings and thinking like maybe he might leave me. I can't have kids. I can't carry kids or whatnot. But thank God they had a baby. In the end. Little Bobby Christina. But at that time, I'm sure she probably had those thoughts going across going across her mind. Now, in 1992, one thing I'm not gonna bring up a lot in this whole movie because this movie was long. It was like 2.5 hours, so I'm not gonna drag you in no 2.5 hour review. But one thing I wanted to hit on was at the wedding when he had got cold feet and his brother and them, they was trying to get him out the closet and he was in there just turning up, drinking beers and stuff. And he all of a sudden got cold feet and they were trying to get him out the room and nobody could get him out the room besides Alicia. Now, did y'all notice how she was looking at him? Like, I guess they're supposed to be friends, and he had met her because she was a dancer, and she had danced in one of the videos for Rex and Effects, and Teddy Riley was playing the saxophone in that video. So again, a lot of these a lot of these people they meet in videos and industries, they're not even usually like the artists, but could be background singers, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so that's where he knows it from. And then later I find out, well, I'm not gonna get on that because I'm sure they're gonna talk. That'll be in the next part two. We'll talk about that next time. But anyway, at this moment in time, she's in there. She's giving him his pep talk, and like you love her. You really love her. Everything is gonna be all right. You got cold feet. That's understandable. But she's probably with her bridesmaids doing the same thing, cracking down, having cold feet. So you just gotta get out there and go marry your woman. And I still was like, the way she was looking at him, like desire and affection, like more than just this my homie, this my associate, something like that. And besides that, she was the only one who could get up in there. I was wondering if maybe something else was going on, like maybe she was one of the other, women in his life or anything, because I don't know, they seem just too affectionate. But anyway, he gets in there. He's like, okay, I got this. I got this. I'm ready to get married. He go in there and he sees Whitney sniffing. I did not know that was when he found out. I assumed that he had found out she was doing coke or cocaine or whatever before they got married. And for him to find out then, and she's up there like, anybody else would be, oh my god, trying to hide it or trying to make excuses, or this is just, she was up there like, I confess, I every now and then, I sniff for every now and then. And he was just like, he didn't walk, he wasn't in shock, he was like, okay. But back in the day, everybody did that stuff. Not everybody, but everybody, if you know what I mean. A lot of people did drugs. The artists, the musicians, the dancers, the producers, the writers. I mean, everybody did drugs. And they would do it in meetings in front of people like it was nothing. So, maybe that's why Bobby was like, oh, she only do it every now and then. That's cool. That's cool. But anyway, shit, that was when, after that, oh yeah, Bobby was still only smoking weed at that time, so keep that in mind. And then, around the time where he was really, really, really falling apart, and his brother got chewed out by his mama, like she went off on Tommy like it was his fault that Bobby and Whitney was both totally hooked on this stuff now. All they did was stay in the house day and night, doing this cocaine, crack, whatever, sniffing, whatever, and getting drunk. And so she was like, you promised to take care of my son. Now you go and you take care of your brother and do what is right, because they were losing a house. Bobby's career was like at a standstill because he wasn't doing anything but getting high all the time. And so the brother was like, okay, mom, even though it ain't my fault, whatever. I'll go over here and try to get him right. So he goes over there and he's trying to get him right and talk to him, trying to get him to get out the house, stop spending so much time doing drugs. And he's telling him it's all because of Whitney and these drugs that your last album sales was down, because you don't have that energy that you used to have before you did drugs. He gets mad. Bobby gets mad because his boy is telling the truth. Drug addicts don't want to hear that mess because, for one, they really not addicted. They really don't need help. They really can stop anytime they want to. That's how drug addicts are. So he wasn't trying to hear that. And I was like, when he fired his brother because he was telling him the truth, I was like, that's messed up. That's messed up. But you know what? Oh well, I think if he would have kept his brother, maybe his career wouldn't have went downhill so fast. But things happen. But as far as Robin, we saw the Whitney movie. A lot of things came out. Her being bisexual. This Robin chick, they had her looking straight like a dude. Like all she needed was a beard and a mustache. That's all she needed. And I'm like, I have friends who are gay and everything, so nothing against, I just said this before. I don't have nothing against gay people or nothing. I have gay people in my family. I love them dearly. I have gay friends. I love them dearly. So no shade towards the Robin chick. But I'm like, Bobby, how didn't you know? Because it was quite obvious. It was more than just love there. It was more than a friendship love, more than a best friend love. When she started eating from his plate, Bobby was like, he made this like 5 course meal and started, and they probably hardly ever eat because they on drugs all the time. And people who are addicted to drugs, they don't eat that much. And unless you're on weed, then you had the munchies all the time. But anyway, he takes that plate and he throws it at her and tells her to get out the house. And she tired of her always being there. She always being there. They all basically in the bedroom together. They not in the living room. They all in the bedroom together. And Whitney, she gets mad, and she takes her plate and she throws her plate. And then that's when the brother comes off and Robin, you hear her speeding off, burning rubber outside. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, we already know what that was about, but I think Bobby should have known, should have caught some kind of hint before that. But, whatever. He found out later. And then when the guy from House of Pain, when his sister's brother, he had went to Malika's, he wanted to see the children. Bobby was toe up, wasted, and she wouldn't let him in and everything, and told him to come back tomorrow. And then the next scene was him, kicking it. The guy from House of Pain. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but he is so sexy and handsome and chocolate and ooh wee Jesus. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, that scene when he was taking him, they was going out together and they was hanging out in the club, and you see these guys kind of like sneering at him in the corner. Like, I'm like, was the sister's boyfriend involved in something or nah? Because it seemed like they kind of like were familiar with each other, and he's looking at Bobby like, you know them, and Bobby's like, no, but it seemed like something was there. These dudes just sitting there, and then when they get outside, um, the guys is outside lurking, but neither one of them know the dudes. That seemed kind of strange for me because everybody knows Bobby Brown by then. And I can see them coming and trying to rob them, trying to take their jewelry, their car, something like that. But for them to murder them and they just murdered Bobby, brother-in-law, I don't even know if he was married to his sister, but I'll just say his sister's boyfriend, and didn't murder Bobby. They had plenty of opportunity to murder both of them, but just murdered the brother. And then when he gets back, it's like all the blame is on him. Y'all shouldn't have been out there. You shouldn't have been with him. You shouldn't have, it's all your fault. That reminds me of the other movie, which wasn't a true story, but basically Boys in the Hood, when he died and the mom was blaming it on, Doughboy, and it's all your fault. Anyway, but that was really really sad. There was a lot of sad scenes in this movie, a lot of touching scenes in this movie, and I got a lot of information that I would have never known before, especially like the truth behind the Janet rumor. That was totally true, and to find out that's who he was talking about in that song when rock with your baby, when he's talking about you my angel, I love you, you know who you are. I was like, hey. But I was jamming like all through this show. I can't wait for tonight to hear some more tunes, to find out some more tea. And we will talk about all the tea tomorrow, on my next video after I watch part 2 tonight. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned and catch part 2 tonight. I think it comes on at 8 o'clock again. And like I said before at the beginning of the video, make sure you like this video, make sure you share this video, make sure you subscribe to to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. And if you notice in the chat, I have a comment there. Go to my cake decorating page on Facebook called Tanya's Delight Slice by Slice. Check me out, like that channel, like this subscribe to this YouTube channel. And as long as you are a subscriber on both, you can enter every month at the first of the month for a free cake, because I am a cake decorator, not just a YouTube commentator, but I'm also a professional cake decorator. So check out my site on Facebook, Tanya's Delight Slice by Slice. And at the beginning of the month on the 1st, you have all day to enter me a number 1 through 100 to win a free cake if you're from the Omaha area. So try to get your free cake on. I'll be making them cakes. Hey, you better ask about me. But anyway, all right, but y'all let me know what y'all thought about this video. It was so much in the 2.5 hours. I was trying to just hit on the most important scenes, or the most scenes that I thought were really, really good. So y'all, talk to me in the chat. Let me know what you thought about the video. Why I keep saying video? Probably because they was working on so many videos in the movie. But anyway, let me know what you thought about this my video and about the movie, and holla at me. But in the meantime, in between time, Primetime Squad, you know what it is. Stay safe, be blessed, and I am out.